there, how's everybody going? Day 3. I hope everyone's starting to get an awareness around where they're consuming their sugar. Today we're at the supermarket and we're talking nutritional panels and sugar in food. So firstly I want to talk about cereals and looking at the sugar that might be in cereal. So this is Nutrigrain, which is very much promoted as a healthy product, and if we look at the sugar panel here, per serving 10.7 grams, so that's a fair bit of sugar hit that you're going to get in your breakfast. And if we actually look at the quantity per 100 grams, it's 26.7 grams. So if you have they recommend that you should be only having 5 grams per 100 grams, so that's actually really high in sugar when you look at it that. But it also means in one bowl you're getting almost half of your daily sugar quantity, so that's one to think about. And just moving along here, got Sultana brand. We love Sultana brand. I love Sultana brand. But again, if we look at the nutritional panel, one bowl, one serve, and that's assuming, of course, that when you eat, you are eating the recommended serve. And in a most, which is 3/4 cup, if you're eating more than the recommended serving, they're obviously getting more. So 12.7 grams, and again, per 100, that's 28.2 grams of sugar. So again, it's about being aware. It's not about saying don't have it, but at least within your daily amount of sugar that you're eating, being aware of it. Something like Sultana brand, part of that sugar you're going to be getting is from the fruit, so it's natural sugar, but especially being a dried fruit, it is still really high concentrated fruit. So just something really to be aware of, that you're getting quite, with breakfast cereals, a lot of them you're getting really great high sugar hits. Things like your Weet-Bix, Vita-Brits make much better options, and oats, something like that. So we're going to move on to the next aisle now. Okay, so now we're going to look at pasta sauces, because pasta sauces are something that a lot of people use. It's a very convenient way to get a quick meal happening. So just looking at some of the brands here, so this particular one, if we look at the amount of sugar, this has got 7.3 grams per serving. This particular bottle is 4 servings within the jar. So again, if you're having more than 1/4 of the jar, you're going to be getting more than that. The actual quantity of sugar isn't too bad, 5.8 grams per 100 grams. So it's not that it's a bad product sugar-wise, and a lot of the sugar again is still going to be from the tomatoes. But if we look at our ingredients list, this is a good thing to check out. So we look at where sugar is on the list. So sugar's coming in at about 4th there. So if it's turning up in the first 5 ingredients, be aware that it's fairly high in added sugar. So, all right, and we can look at another brand. The next one along, the Dolmio. These are both pretty popular common brands. So again, 7.4 grams of sugar. So the 5.9 per 100 grams. But again, if we look at our ingredients list, tomatoes, onion, sugar. So it's the 3rd added ingredient. So again, quite high in sugar to be aware of. All right, now moving along. Tinned vegetables. So a lot of tinned vegetables actually have sugar added to them, which you might not be aware of. So for instance, we're going to have a look at the corn here. Now this one here is no added salt, so it's being advertised that way to be considered as a healthier option. So now if we look at it, it's got sweet corn, water and sugar and it's got 4 grams of sugar, and that's based on basically 3 serves in the tin, 2.5 grams. So it's not high in sugar, but do we need the sugar? So, but that's the healthy option. But then we look at this one that's super sweet corn, and it's 3.2 and 4.3. So as you can see there, the one that's got the no added salt actually has a higher amount of sugar in it than the one that is the super sweet corn. So when you're choosing your products, just be aware, because based on that, we'd be better off to choose this one over this one. Another one to look at, we're just looking at, is the supermarket brand one. So it's actually promoted as no added sugar. And if we look at this, this is 2.7 and 3.5. So it is actually much lower in sugar because it has no added sugar. But for me, it's a product of Thailand. My preference is to always buy an Australian product, so I will choose the healthier option of these and know that I'm buying an Australian product over the imported product. Okay, now again, we're all about convenience, and And another thing that you might be using as a convenience is for the stir fry is a jarred sauce. Well, you might be a little bit horrified to look at this, that one serving has 24.1 grams of sugar in it. So that's a quarter of the jar, and that's a lot of sugar that you're going to get. So you're going to, with this, going to be getting your entire allowance of sugar in one day. So, and if we look at our ingredients, so pineapple juice, well, as we're already learning, that juice is very, very high in sugar. It's just got the vegetables, and then number 3 ingredient is sugar. So you've got pineapple juice and sugar in your top 3, and probably when we look through there, we're going to have other products that are potentially sugar as well. So again, really, really high in sugar. Okay, what else are we going to look at? One thing to say about the tinned vegetables, like a lot of them have the added sugar, they might have added salt, so a better option is just to go with your frozen vegetables. If you're not going to buy fresh, then get your frozen, but at least the frozen are just the vegetable. Now, soup. Okay, so this has been a favourite of mine growing up, the good old Rosella tomato soup, Australian grown and owned. So I love this soup. My kids love this soup. But again, when we look at it, so this is saying 4 serves per, and this is when you make it up with water. No, so if you're adding milk like I do, then it's going to be a higher amount of sugar, but 11 grams for the serve. So again, it's a fairly high in sugar. So just something to be aware of when you're choosing your soups. Okay, so we're just going to head down to the frozen section now. Okay, so we're now in the frozen food section, and we're going to look at some products that are promoted as healthy. So healthy choice, it's in the title. 97% fat-free, low saturated fat, sugar and cholesterol. Okay, so everything on there says healthy. So if we turn it over to the back, so one packet is a serve, and if we look at the serve, we've got 13.5 grams of sugar just in this one serve. So it may be 4.1 grams per 100, which is, a great per 100 grams, but we're getting, again, half of our sugar allowance just in this one meal. So it's got, honey in it, it's got sugar in it, it's got all these other different things that are versions of sugar. So don't always believe, just because it says it's low sugar does not mean it's low sugar. It's low relative to what? So that would be based on the fact that it's under the 5 grams per 100. But when you look at what your serving is, it's not low in sugar at all. So again, be aware. I'm not saying don't eat these things, but just be aware and allow for that in what you're eating each day. All right, now we're just going to go look at some tinned fish, and then we'll be finished in the supermarket. Okay, now we're going to look at tinned fish. Like very convenient thing to have. I find it really easy, quick lunch to have at home or on the run. I can easily throw it in my bag, take it to work. So just going to look at a few different varieties, because the flavoured ones are all the go these days. There's so many different flavoured varieties. So this one's a mango chili, and one serving is a tin. So this one's 5.3 grams. So yeah, that's not too bad. We're around the, it's around about the 5 grams per 100. So that's not too bad. But we're just going to compare a few of them. So that one was the around the 5. Now this is my favourite one, the sun-dried tomato and basil. So this one's a bit better because it's 2.7 grams. So again, it's about making better options. So it might be that you get your flavoured tuna, but perhaps go with an option that is a bit lower in sugar. And then of course, we can go with the one that is just this plain spring water. And this one's like less than a gram of sugar in it. So it just shows you that within a product, we can make better choices about which one we have when we're looking at how much sugar is in the product. So I hope that's been useful for you today. So the idea being about this is when you are going to the supermarket, you start looking at your nutritional panels and looking at the amount of sugar in them. But also what I want you to do today, or with today's handouts, is to actually start looking in your pantry. You've got a pantry checklist as part of your handouts for today, and I want you to go, there's some things I've listed there that are products that you would have sugar in them. Go through and look at those products, see if you've got them in your pantry, in your freezer, in your fridge, and start looking at the amount of sugar that's in them, just to again raise your awareness of where you're consuming sugar. Other handouts you've got today is a really useful handout from the Queensland Government about reading nutritional labels. You've of course got your sugar journal, so I hope you're all working on that, listing all your sugars that you're consuming each day. Hope you're working on your food journal, and I feel like there's one more handout, but I cannot think of what it is. So there might be a bonus one as well. So anyway, I hope you're all going well. Please interact on the page. If there's anything that you want to know about, if you're still needing help working out your sugar, then please yell out, and let's get this sugar kicked. I'll see you tomorrow.